people are doing their thing. It seems to be getting the message across. Parliament isn't feeling quite so comfortable as they shouldn't be.
I agree. Hello, everybody. How you doing? I know we just kind of a little bit late, but we were really talking, folks. And so a lot going on. Just want to speak favor, peace, be cavale, and be a felicity, which is very important. I love that word. I'm going to be using it in my vernacular. So BOSTO and healing and happy birthday if you've got one. So welcome, everyone. Thank you, moderators. You're all in here. I can see you. David Barry's in the house. Robert V. Kaz Hawk, much love to you, dear. Kaz, if you want to be a part of this, you're more than welcome. Just send me an email and I'll let you know. We'll pull you in as well. So welcome, everybody. Things are really weird. I mean, we know this. And so we just got to remain balanced. So hello. You know these folks. I don't need to introduce them. We meet each Friday. You know their talents and their skills, which are absolutely exceptional, off the chart. That's a private commentary, but public opinion. Did you pick up on that, ladies?
Yeah, thanks.
Am I really good at this or what? Am I really good or what? So it's an honor to be in the presence of such, in my opinion, divine femininity. So welcome, Nina. Welcome, Amber. Welcome, Jenny. How are y'all doing?
Good. Yeah, glad to be here again, Wayne.
Yeah, it's good to see you. Yeah.
Long time no see.
Yeah. Amber, how you doing, dear?
I'm doing okay, feeling the energies, being an empath. It's just like I'm being, punched on all ends, and I haven't even gone anywhere. I'm just feeling it. So yeah, I hope everybody's handling everything okay.
I kind of feel like the rat, it says, forget the cheese, just get me out of the damn trap. And so that's how I feel. Jennifer, how are you doing?
I'm readjusting.
Uh-huh.
I'm good. Same as Amber, actually. That's what I do. I work with energy, and it's intense. Like you said, I've kept using the same term, raw and unfiltered. That's how it feels, right?
It is.
It's very raw, very unfiltered. And I know we're seeing the extremes of both ends of the spectrum, good and bad, in people. And it's a ride for sure. It's a ride. So I'm very like Amber, going back and forth.
It's like I was telling Lynn that I said, because we have friends that are just glued right now to the television, and their lives are just. And I told her, I said, we have to stay off the teeter-totter. Don't even want to get on it, I don't want to play. I don't want to get on that, because once you get
no idea how much magic is put out on those things, the words that they use, the numbers behind the words, it's all gematria. If you look at the headlines and break it down, at the magic that I see when I see the people's TVs, if you go into their home and they've got the TV on, and the headlines and the words, the three times they repeat things, and it's like, damn, all I can see is the colors, the numbers, the words, the magic. They're putting literal spells over people, locking them into fear, locking them into fear, locking them into the distraction, the sides, the fight, so they just. It's dark. It's real dark what they put out on what seems to be some. And you say that to people, and they think you're going crazy. They think you're over the top, too intense. So you're the one that's fear mongering them because you're telling them this, for a box that's on their wall. And it's real bad.
Well, over here in the States, we were warned. I mean, the interesting thing is, I learned a long time ago. Whatever force there is, and I call it's and yesterday talking with Trina, it was one of those epiphanies. The spiritual realm is actually still in the third dimensional realm. And before they do anything here in the physical realm, they have to tell us first. And Biden did say this. He said this 3 weeks ago. He said very dark, and he said it 3 times. Very dark, dark days are coming.
He did dark winter. That was mentioned in Parliament over here too.
They used the same. Interesting.
Same vernacular, yeah, the dark winter, dark times, and you can see it's leading up to the solstice. There's going to be another stage in this spell. The whole thing has been a gestational spell. You can look at it from all of the stages of the solstice, the different stages that they've kept bringing in, just like a baby comes into different stages of gestation. I can see it, I can feel what they're doing, and it's very timed, very, very precise, and very they've got every loophole thus far. They keep readjusting themselves slightly, but they've kept to their numbers, they've kept to their gestations thus far, very surely.
So this brings up an inner question then, group, because we're not doing cards today, and I have such respect for all three of you and your insights. So we know something is afoot. It's unfolding as we're speaking. We're all living in it. So here's a loaded question for the three of you. Is the feminine involved in this as well?
That's an interesting question.
I think so. I mean, everything exists, everything is polarized, and everything exists within the same space. So how can it not involve the feminine? The feminine just doesn't get taken out of, and same with masculine. Like, it does take two to make a child, right? It doesn't just take the feminine. And same with everything else. You have women reacting. Maybe they're coming from more of a masculine energy, but they're still a female,
True. What's your view on that, Nina?
Yeah, well, we all have, female and male energies about us, right? So, and it is the yin and the yang. It definitely takes two. You can't be too much of one or the other, so that's why we sort of dual within each other with the male and the female, where it's a duality, I mean, with religion, they try to suppress the whole feminine thing, which we obviously know, God would have had to have a female counterpart as well in creation, as far as our human perspective of that, though, for as far as we're concerned, it takes two to procreate. Now, I don't know if it's the same up there, but yeah. So
I have a yogi that I've learned a lot from him. He's shown me a lot, but he wrote because I announced this yesterday, and he said, it's important to remember that Kali is also the goddess of death. That where Kali comes in, destruction is the first, death is the next, and then it's rebirth into new life. So it really brings into the question then, if we're seeing the feminine, maybe this is the feminine. I mean, because this seems to be a very destructive energy that's coming headlong for humanity. It's certainly appearing here in the United States in ways I had never imagined. What say you?
The thing is, you don't want to mess with Mama Bear. We all know that, right? So if you look at it that way, the energy could be stronger because of that. You mess with Mama Bear now she's coming to get you. So look out.
Well, and I think we try to remain positive, but I think that the yogi had a really valid point that is what Kali does. Yeah. She brings life, but before she can bring life, the old has to be destroyed.
And especially the old, I mean, Kali Ma, she was made to destroy what was depicted as the demons, but that is ego. And so it said that, everybody that was on the spiritual path, they would see the most loving, motherly eyes, encouraging eyes from Kali. Or if you were in your egoic path where your ego was out of whack and you were being demonic, you were destroying nature itself, she would tear you limb from limb. You would know absolute and utter fear, bone shuddering fear. And I mentioned this in a reading the other day. My kids see a reflection of that, that when they know they haven't been very high frequency or very much on the spiritual path, they know the look that they get and, the shudder, hopefully. And they do, but that if they've been ethical, if they're on their high frequency and being kind to each other, then they get encouragement and they feel that, know that, but it's with a look. And then it's with whatever action I take afterwards, whether it's to reward it or whether it's to discipline it. Either way, I take an action as a mother. And I think both Amber and Nina said it perfectly. You don't upset the divine feminine as far as creation's concerned, and the balance has been upset for a very long time. And I think, like everything, you see a reflection, don't you, in everything. So they've brought forth very timely, right from Margaret Thatcher, they've brought forth feminine women to be in leadership roles, Hillary, Thatcher, those kind of women. But actually, they're far more in the negative masculine area than they ever are feminine. They're in a feminine body, but they don't actually reflect the balanced woman. And so where they felt the divine feminine starting to shake up and wake up and say, oh no, this balance has been out of whack for too long, they introduced some characters, to try and placate the women of the collective. That's gotten to a point now where nature, I think, has said, no, I'm going to shake these bones to the surface. All of you are going to see the truths that have been hidden. And that has a level of destruction about it, which we've got to deal with.
Well, as I told and confessed to the three of you before we went, as a man, as a male, I have a difficult time comprehending what exactly feminine is. When I was in Bible school, they never taught the feminine. I mean, that was a foreign construct. There's some that say in eschatology and theology that the divine feminine does not exist, that it is a made up construct to counter the male, that apparently there was this void. And so it was a construct made up by men. But and again, here we get back into this trap again. I mean, and I struggled, I never had a real mother in my life. So I was devoid of an understanding, well, what is a mother's love? My perception of mother's love was pain. So growing up, it was something that I discovered very early in my life, that there was this unbalance I didn't know. And here I am at this stage of my life, and I still struggle with defining what is the feminine. It's not just sexuality. It goes much deeper than that. There's a perception of seeing life. What say y'all? I mean, y'all are some bright spirits. I mean, and you've been graced to have, I don't know if all spirits are just, more hermaphrodites, or if in fact we take on the masculine or the feminine even into the ethereal.
I think spirits have traits of it for sure. I mean, I don't think they have, procreation parts. They don't need that, but they definitely have both aspects of them, And when you look at the goddess, like Freya or Astarte, there's a lot of names for the same sort of being, but it's a god of love and war. There definitely is both, like she can go either way. So she'll basically react to you the way that she's being treated. So,
And the feminine has been suppressed for so many years. And, when you think about it, like we were talking about the females in the politics,
yeah,
they are very masculine, and, they're not going to just, you have to be masculine. That's a male dominated structure, and it was done intentionally, and in order to be a woman and make it into that profession, you have to be able to play with the boys, and so you're not going to get like this gentle motherly person, because they just don't allow for it. When people are so on the masculine, they just look at the feminine as weakness, and then also in our, reality, like we've had to suppress ours too. Like if we're too nice, then people are going to want to have sex with us. If we're too mean, we're just a bunch of B words, so it's really difficult being a woman sometimes, because we're not really allowed to express that without some type of or skewed, idea of what that woman is. So it's all about that balance again, you know, and I think the masculine energy has been overtaking the feminine for so long that it's just got us all confused. And it's like, how do you express that? Like, it's just really frustrating, you know. It's like, I just want to be loving, so why are you trying to have sex with me? You know what I mean? It's like, I just want to be loving. I don't, and then you suppress yourself. Like, I started to act very masculine for many, many years to protect myself, you know, because it is a very male the male dominated energy, you know, and that's not a bad thing to be, have male energy, but, and I want to say I think a lot of it is because of, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, so I'll spell it PORN.
Yeah, no,
I
porn.
think
Yeah,
that, yeah. And so it's like, you know, we have so many people watching that and just completely disconnecting what it means to actually have an intimate relationship. And it really takes the respect away from the woman when all they watch is, you know, that.
my stepdaughter is going through, you know, she's single, and the problem is the males in the late 40s and early 50s, they don't know how to react to women. And the issue is pornography. I mean, is that the male perceives the feminine through the lens of pornography because it's so rampant and entwined in our cultural society.
And they give it away for free. Everything that they want
Yeah.
to cultivate society through, control, oppress, manipulate society through, it's given away freely. You know, they don't they don't hold any bars to it. It's there, it's predominant, it's in everything. And so anything like that is questionable. And just like Amber was saying, that they don't know how, and you were saying they don't know how to react. But if you think of the esoteric meaning of like what's behind you, the divine feminine being the black, the dark substance that holds the spark of divine masculine, so that the beauty of the divine masculine can be seen. This is what I've kept saying. You take out the one that supports everything, that puts in a womb of everything, that creates and holds space and time for everything to be created beautifully and in order, as the cells create in order within the womb. You take out that one, you take out the divine masculine too. So we haven't actually got that many divine masculines wandering around. So they don't know how to react because they haven't been taught how to be divine either, and they haven't had that divine substance, which is none better than the other. It's not about gender. It's just that that's how it works. It wombs, it houses, it puts a cocoon, a cave of substance, time and space that creation can be seen, a contrast, a background. That's not to say that the woman is in the background. It's just that that's an important part of the role. So we haven't actually got too much divine masculine energy within the masculine, because by taking out that one, degrading that one, building the ego of the other one, but on false foundations, you've took it all out. You've got all of the order upside down and flipped and flopped, and nobody knows how to have those deep, meaningful tantric moments, and those deep, meaningful friendship moments, and those deep, meaningful just dialogue moments, because it's all confused. Because then if they take out the foundation, the canvas, then they can put on whatever they like, pornography, Hollywood, the TV series that they put out, the dating series, you know, The Bachelor and things like that. All of those things they can then start painting onto the canvas and manipulate society to be that way. And so they've took it all out and flipped it.
You know, as I was listening to you, Jenny, it became aware to me inside, maybe the issue here is that we don't know what the divine masculine really is. Maybe it's not so much the divine feminine as it is the lost of the divine masculine, because I don't believe today in what we see in society and in our culture and religion, politics, is that is in fact the divine masculine as well.
Well, it's the masculine, divine masculine to me if you look around the world, there's these big statues of sleeping goddesses, and from ancient times, and they're hardly ever spoken about, and some of them are huge. Some of them in Greece are massive, these sleeping goddesses, and literally curled up asleep. And there's depictions in Egypt and other places of ancient, I've forgotten what you call it when they're on a wall, etched into a wall.
I know the word hieroglyph.
You know what I mean?
Hieroglyphs, yeah.
Pictographs.
Yeah. So they have those, and it's this lion awakening a divine feminine goddess from a cave, from a sleeping tomb, sleeping white. And that was the hidden meaning behind that. So it actually takes the master to be able to have his role too, which is why it's neither about importance or gender wars or who's in front, but it's the master that is to explore and activate the divine feminine, as you would in a relationship. The master explores the divine feminine body for all of the things that it can unlock for both. And so you unlock creation by doing that. So if we haven't got the divine feminine in a place, we haven't got the divine masters who know how to explore in a divine way the goddesses who are asleep to activate all of the powers of the goddess. You've flipped it all out. You've got your own canvas to write your own magic on. So that's depicted by these sleeping goddesses, and they haven't been getting woken up.
I see that. I mean, for me, it's not that much, because my background is, in theology, religion. And so if you look at it in the modern day world today, the masculine is represented by deities that they're crazy. I mean, they're bat crap crazy.
It's like a warrior. Yeah, I know.
I mean, I don't care if it's the Jewish God, the Christian God, the Islamic God, whatever, but you look at them and their personality traits. I mean, I wouldn't let them in my house.
No. Let alone explore.
And then you look at all these sort of gender confusion now. People don't know what gender they are. As somebody said, 72 different genders now that we have. 72. Okay.
When did that happen? I mean,
I don't know.
It's getting really weird. Amber, you said something that I thought was really interesting, that you took on certain characteristics of a masculine shade in order to protect yourself. That is very interesting, because that, to me, I hear that is that represents a part of the feminine as having to in survival mode.
Mm-hmm.
Not
That's
living.
what it was.
Yeah, it's freaking surviving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I found myself like instead of walking with my curvy womanly body, I'm like trying to stomp around and be all buff and talk a little bit harder and just try not to be so feminine, because it can get you
in trouble.
Yeah. And I've had a lot of jobs where, if I'm PMSing and I'm just feeling a little that day, I've had so many male managers come up to me, "What is wrong with you?" And they just like shame you, and so it's just really, it's difficult because it's just so superficial. People don't actually ask like, "Are you okay? Like, what's going on?" It's just like, and it's just really difficult to navigate. I'm out of that now. I mean, kind of. When I'm around certain people, I'm still, kind of put my boy face on. But
when we all meet as
frustrating.
a group, you can be 100% woman. I don't believe anyone would deny that, because I think that is a shame. I mean, and listen, I was a pretty loose guy. I mean, I was a man whore growing up as my teenage years. I mean, I really was. And, as I look back at it, I met just as many messed up girls as I did, when myself was messed up.
Yeah, I did the same thing growing up. You know, you have to be tough, especially if you're on the street and whatever, you know, growing up a little different. You have to be tough, otherwise you're going to get run over. And then when you get into sexuality, like you're talking about, you know, if a guy has lots of sex partners, oh, that's okay, you know, that a boy, right? But if a girl does, oh, she's slut shamed and everything else. So that's a whole nother thing that we got to deal with.
You just got to be honest, guys. I mean, we're men whores. I mean, that's all it is. I mean,
Right.
and you know, it confuses. I mean, I remember the 60s and the 70s. I mean, I was in the University of Houston, and I attended a lesbian forum. And the reason why I did was that there was a part of me lacking with the social group who I knew, and trying to understand, you know, this sexuality expression of freedom, I guess is the way it is. And that's when my whole world collapsed, because I suddenly realized that there is 50% of the population that sees something completely different than any male I ever heard from.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are 50 years later, still struggling with it.
And if you believe in reincarnation, think about it. How many different races and sexes have we been? And so that kind of loops me back around to the gender confusion right now. Because, you know, you'll have a lot of people that, you know, they want to transition, but some of them actually wait until they're older. And then they're like, I'm glad I didn't do that, you know, because some of us remember our past lives, whether we, you know, we still feel it, you know, we still kind of have an idea. And so, you know, what if in the past life somebody was a boy and now they're in this body as a girl? That's why I think it's like kind of important for people to wait a little while. And sure, yeah, I mean, if you really truly feel that's what you need to do, then by all means do it. It's your life, your body. But I really feel like, you know, some people relate to different cultures and different races other than what they were born into here in this body. So, you know, it's like we're not taught these things, you know. It's
No.
like if we were just taught, but that's the thing, they don't want us to know this stuff, because they, you know, there's chaos is how we stay controlled. So, but it's just unfortunate, you know, because for me, I do believe in past lives, and so I can relate to so many different kinds of people. And it doesn't mean I just want to go and like be them, but it's like, you know what I mean?
I've done meditation sessions where I've tried to go back. That's why I'm going to be doing some life regression therapy. We're checking out some therapists, but because I really want to explore this. I mean, I know at one time I was a warrior of the Inca tribe, died in a battle. I know that there was a time I was a monk. I know that. The question is, have I ever been associated with the feminine? Have I ever been female?
Oh yeah, I'm
sure you have. Yeah,
guarantee
I came to the same conclusion as you there, Amber, years ago about past lives. And I do feel that I was probably male a whole lot more than I was ever a female before. And I feel that now because I do have a very strong sort of masculine energy about me. Didn't quite realize that until a few years back. But yeah, so that was sort of my reasoning too about the gender confusion. As they come here and they're not used to being this gender, you know, they feel
Right.
out of sorts. Yeah. So that totally resonates.
I think you've both hit on the nail on the head there, that they've weaponized this gender issue as well, like they weaponize everything. So if you look at tribes now that still recognize from when they know they began as tribes, generation after generation, that have had 60, 70 different types of genders. They just don't care. Now, because they don't care, it's not a weapon. They're not forcing the child to make medical decisions early on and conditioning them and using them to manipulate a political side or whatnot. It shouldn't be and isn't an issue. Some people do genuinely feel this is the wrong body. And, you know, if you've jumped into that, maybe it's because there's something that you can be taught there, some kind of generational wound that you can heal within that space of feeling uncomfortable for a time and being brave enough to rectify that and stand up and say, I don't feel right in this body, whatever it is for that person. But it's the fact that it's being weaponized.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it wouldn't be a problem. It isn't a problem. If the weaponization of it went away, if the money out of it went away regarding medical treatments early on and then lifelong treatments thereafter, if that went away, the huge amount of profit poof went away, the problem goes away. Nobody has a problem with it. Everybody can just be relaxed enough to say, well, yeah, we'll help you work through that. You know, if you're a child, we're going to give it some time, but we're going to allow you to show yourself how you want to be seen, you know, at an age appropriate way. So, you know, if you feel like you're a boy and you're physically a girl, you will not be wearing you know, hot pants that are made for little boys that shouldn't be made. You know, you'll be wearing boys' clothes for your age, you know, things like that. You would still be a parent, you would still guide it. But the problem, if the people who wanted to rile up one side and say, we're on your side for a political vote, if that all went away, the problem goes away. And the understanding of what Nina and Amber have said is more understood, that, you know, oh, okay, so it's probably that I've predominantly been a man or a woman in past lives, or I've got some kind of experience to have here in this body, but I still feel maybe some of the push to have medical treatments would disappear if society could not have a problem with it and just understand that, oh, this person, you know, has this different body than what they usually would affiliate with, but, you know, so they're just going to present themselves with clothes, with makeup, or with not, as they feel fit. Probably the drive for a lot of medical treatments would disappear too. It's about the weaponization, I think, of gender.
Well,
And sterilization as well.
Yeah.
You literally took the words. I mean, I was thinking they've weaponized sexuality. And in doing so, we depending on your gender, you have to either defend or attack your position, in which I think is just nuts. Because the one thing that I have ever not seen put into the equation until very recently was the spirituality of sexuality.
Like
I mean,
Tantra.
yeah, I mean, it's a whole, particularly in the West, because we've been so indoctrinated with the porn industry here that no one never sees sexuality as a spiritual expression, just merely as a physical means.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean,
the spirit a lot more than the physical. Even, you know, if I'm entering into a relationship with somebody, I start in the spiritual. I start in that mind space, in that frequency space, and it's felt, you know, and it's a far more fulfilling experience that way. But a lot of people don't understand that, so it gets, you know,
I think it's lacking in our whole vernacular, it's something I've been hesitant not to teach on, but it's something that needs to be taught on, excuse me. Is that because we don't see the spirit in a sexual sense, but yet the sexuality is the spirit, whether I be male, whether I be female. And maybe that's the transition zone. I mean, I'm just putting it out there. I'm just, you know, we're having coffee and talking. It would seem to me that if we had more teaching on the fact that sexuality is not so much a physical experience as it is a joining of spiritual energies. The first time I met you, Amber, you said something really interesting, that you weren't looking to take on anyone's, I think you actually used the word sexual energy.
Yes.
Or something similar to that. And that was very profound.
And I learned it, you know, I just realized, because when I was in my early 20s, you know, I had a lot of friends who were, they liked to have fun a lot. And so I was like, well, and they would get boyfriends out of it. And so I'm like, is that what I need to do? I need to like give it up to get a boyfriend? Didn't work for me at all. In fact, it made me feel horrible about myself. There was absolutely no connection there. And then in the end, there was no callback, or, you know what I mean? It's just like you try to give a part of yourself and then you just kind of get taken for granted. And then I just started to realize like, okay, that's not working for me. So I'm going to stop that. And I just started to realize like, no wonder I was feeling so drained. You know, I mean, in a way, a lot of these people are kind of like energy vampires, or you're actually binding your energy with someone else. And now all of a sudden you have cords attached to someone that you would have never done that with, you know? So it's very smart to make wise choices when it comes to lovers and mates, I think. You know, some people, I'm just super passionate and I can be very intimate and, you know, just sensual. But a lot of, like we were going back, a lot of men, they're so addicted to porn, or they just have this belief that, oh God, that are clingy, you know? And so it's like, not even allowed to like give, you know what I mean? It's like, it's just all very imbalanced, but it's definitely a energetic union. And
Yeah.
it's something that, you know, you can't just take lightly.
I wish there was more teaching it. Jenny, you got a look on your face like you're in deep thought.
I am. It was something. Sorry, it was something that I was just listening to what Amber was saying, and it was really getting me there, because I know I was hearing my mum's words that she taught me from a young age, that a little bit like the human virus that can be passed, that can cause cervical cancer in girls
HPV.
and women. It is predominantly shown that people with very different partners of regularity, so high numbers of different partners. But then it got proven that that was a bit of a misogynistic way of looking at it, because it actually got proven that it was the amount of different partners also had to be factored in, that each male, so one girl could be sleeping with one man, but at the same time he could be going around and sleeping around behind her back. So she was sleeping with every partner he'd ever slept with. And that was reflected in the biology, in the transference of this virus, well, not virus, but you know what I mean. And so my mum brought that up with me. I was only young, and she'd said, you see, this is a way of me teaching you the spiritual imprint, the energetic imprint that you give of yourself as a female. You open up your chamber as a female, and you absolutely allow not just the energetic imprint to be skin to skin, but it is actually within you, in the physical, in the process. So in the spiritual, you've got to magnify that by 1,000,000. And so later down the line, you could still be having an effect from, or feeling the effect of, the energetic imprint, the cord of that person that you slept with maybe 20 years earlier. What's that person done throughout their life? You feel these jolts of energy. And then Amber said something else, which she does to me. She gets to, you know, she speaks to me, and so does Nina. But I actually did a pornography. And I was in a very bad place, could not feed myself. And I'm not going to go into that because the show is not about that. But it was actually a real eye-opener to coming back to my divine feminine and getting out of the relationship I needed to get out of, and all of that. It was the most horrific experience I've ever had. But then with that, I got into the researching of the industry, and the way that has proliferated the view of women who don't give it up. And so there's so much encouragement on both sides, one to expect it and one to give it. And it causes, we've got so many energetic sexual cords now, that it really has been a huge factor in how we find ourselves today as men and women, really struggling to not just be in connection with each other, but then being the connection with the divinities within, you know, the balance of their own divine feminine and divine masculine, it's a self-hatred in a way, because, and this is what I came to the understanding of through what I'd gone through, is that I hated my feminine for going through that, for being put through certain things. And I hated my divine masculine because I was mistakenly placing gender on my divine feminine, divine masculine. So the masculines that were doing that became my divine masculine. Instead of it being a completely separate thing, it became merged and confused and distorted. So I was hating on both sides of myself. I was in the middle, really hating on both sides. And so it was just that. And I make no secrets of anything I've done or been through.
No need to. Yeah.
But,
did you read the email I sent you?
It pinged it. What, sorry?
Did you read the email I sent you today?
No, not yet. You know what I'm like. I will get to. Sorry. I just.
It's going to blow your mind. It's
oh,
gonna
wow.
blow your mind.
I like mind blowing.
I was in your part. I was astral traveling, my dear, over your region, and I saw you. Read the email. Read the email.
Now.
Well, you can read it later. I mean, I'm just telling you, when you read it, you're going to freak out.
Wayne's creeping on you.
You know what? I remote view. You know that I remote view, and I feel people when they're coming in. And the last few days, actually, I've had discussions like, "Oh, who's that?" And so I wonder if one of those "who's that's" was
Wayne.
you.
Probably me.
It's wine.
It's wine. We wanted to feel the wine.
Well, speaking of the PORN industry, you know, when you go on there and you look at, you know, the categories that they have there, a lot of it is son and mama or daddies, you know, that kind of thing, or cheating, you know. So it's like they're promoting incest, they're promoting cheating, you know, the whole thing is like so messed up. And that's what people
programming.
Yeah, totally. It's a definite psyop right there. Yeah.
When I was in the film and video industry, a couple of years, I was in the video duplication industry. And when I talk about duplication, we're talking about tens of millions of VHS cassettes. But anyway, the point is we didn't do work directly for the porn industry, but we sold them cassettes. And the interesting thing about the porn industry is that the porn industry is what brought us VHS tape. It was the porn industry that brought us the CD disc. It was the porn industry that brought us virtual reality. And you see how it's so ingrained. When I used to go to the conventions, I literally would go through a cleansing ritual before I would walk into that adult section, because there's some funky spirits out there. I mean, I've had to kick more than a few, because they will literally attach to you like a cockabur.
Astrologically, you can chart when STD, demonic type energy spirits can be transferred more easily. Nina will know more about that than I do, but it's the you can chart astrologically when you're at a higher risk of what, like Amber was saying before, this imprint, this cord, but not so nice one. And so they do this, though, they set up these industries that do one thing, but then pay for many others. You know, they paid for all of the list you've just said there. They paid for all of this. That brought in so much more control of harnessing. And it's always been about harnessing spirit, harnessing souls, and they're getting real close to that. I've felt that very much over the last few weeks. Very much.
Oh yeah, that sexual energy, they literally feed off that. So you know, yeah.
So I was with
and they practice it. They practice it.
Yes, they do. Yes. It's a ritual.
And they do it with all different types of beings and creatures.
Well,
and
what I have seen is that I think a lot of them are creating servitors. I think they're creating tulpas that actually will do a move in. There are a lot of females who are very weak, and they don't understand that at that moment of that engagement, that there is a spiritual aspect of this, and that's when the portals are open. And Amber, again, when you said, yeah, I'm not in the mood of collecting, energies, I thought, wow, that's profound, baby.
I'm glad I learned it.
Yeah,
Me
a
too.
womb is a portal, isn't it? You enter into it and you create and it cultivates, and then it expels out into the physical, whatever's being created there. So it is a portal, and men should be more aware of just casting their seeds in any given portal, because it doesn't just happen to women. These cords, these things that will degrade you and can ruin you, and it's hard to work back. You have to work back historically, doing any sort of spiritual coaching or anything like that as to where it got in. These men should be very just as coveting of their seeds as well, the physical reflection of their spiritual self, as to where they cast them, as to what soil they're casting them into. Because you can get trapped both physically, which happens, and emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. You can get locked down by a feminine who knows what she's doing, or doesn't know what she's doing, and is directed by all of the manipulation as to how she's supposed to treat men that's out there too. So it's about having your own divinity and sovereignty, and being discerning, and not so caveat about either or. Both men and women have to be aware of it and what the spiritual consequences are.
I knew a succubus. That's what I called her. She called herself a sorceress, but this was back in the 70s. But she collected semen and used it in her rituals. And she was a powerful individual. But I learned some things from her, is the fact that, the menstrual blood and the semen are two powerful elements that, if you know what those energies are, that
equation is going to get things entered in, locked down, screwed to the floor, lifted to the ceiling. You can get bounced around your own room with somebody having those two ingredients. I'm telling you,
it's the truth. It's the truth.
And just like Jennifer was just talking about like men casting their seeds and not really being aware of the connection and the bond that creates. I've had a couple healings in the past, and they particularly focused down on my second chakra, my sacral chakra. And they said that whether or not the people knew what they were doing, they implanted an energetic seed in there, and it was messing with me. So they had to do a psychic surgery type thing to get me cleared. So, so yeah,
Amber, I have never heard that before, but that makes a hell of a lot of sense. Wow.
Yeah.
You got that look like you're the sheriff in town going, yep, trying to tell y'all.
And it was weird too, because it was a man that well, actually both of the healings were men. So, I already kind of have like this kind of like, what's he going to do? Cause I don't really trust men all that much, just, I've been through a lot of situations where it's just, I've been betrayed. So it's kind of difficult for me, but I let them do it. But I was just like, cause they're like, now I'm going to put light, and I'm like, what are you doing? Are you implanting me again? I was like, what are you doing? But I just let him do it. I was like, all right, I'm going to put it in God's hands, and hopefully you're not being a creep. But
they weren't a creep, right?
I felt great after, I feel, so I think their intentions were good.
See, when I see particularly you three, but particularly Amber, you and Jenny, y'all give me the impression at time you could put a can of whoop ass on any dude and have absolutely no problem about it. That's all I got to say about that. And Nina, you just have a look like you just say, don't fuck with me.
Yeah, she's got authority about it.
Yeah.
I used to listen on stage. I literally used to whip men on stage because they paid for me to do it. You know, when I was dancing, they would pay to come and get whipped on stage. I was like, all right then.
Yeah. Hey, a girl's got to make some money somehow.
Hey, listen, girls got to do with.
Girls gotta make some money. And now we got cameras. Now we can do it on cam now. I don't even have to pay.
Oh, everybody would take a
Oh,
picture. You know, the stag do's and stuff that paid the entertainment was to
Suddenly, I
pay.
had a picture of Jenny in completely black latex. You know,
Yeah, I can see that. With the big thigh-high boots. Yeah.
I'm dancing any size heel.
That's a whole different show there, I guess, eh? That'll be next week.
that one's not for free, right? I'm sorry. I had a very. That's just funny, though. I mean, at times you just got to laugh because it is human nature.
Yeah.
We all are creatures of experience, and what I saw with you, Jenny, and I won't let out much, but you know, the victories that you three have had, Amber, with what you've had to deal with, Jen, Nina, it humbles me, and again, it's an honor to be around that strength represented in not only your psychic abilities but your personalities and your overall genuine humanness. It's just it's great.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Check is in the mail.
Thank you.
When you start making me laugh to where I'm actually shedding tears, now that's a powerful essence. I knew a warlock that would collect his tears in different types of emotions, and
That's
would use
interesting.
those in ceremonies.
Wow, that's very clever. I like that.
Very clever. Yeah.
That's the thing. Magic is real, and sex
It is
magic
real.
is very real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
See, if I collected those tears were filled of joy, laughter, genuine, and that's healing. I can mix that with other oils and actually, it produces a very powerful elixir to heal.
Wow, I like that because you impregnate water has memory too.
It does.
So whatever
Yeah.
you shedding a tear over.
Yeah.
My granny used to say that there was a river of tears, and that was if you told a good joke, that was if somebody died, that was if that somebody had hurt you. And she would say, you just let it flow, let it out. Everybody needs a good cry. And sometimes she would force herself to cry, which is when she felt like she had to release some energy. What you crying for, Granny? Just felt like it. And she wasn't upset about anything. She just released it. And so that is very clever magic. I like that.
And that's one thing that the masculine kind of lacks, because men are always taught that, don't cry.
Don't cry.
Boys don't cry, right? So they feel shamed if they cry and have that release. That's one thing about being a feminine is it's
if I watch a love movie, I'll cry. If I get into the character.
It's natural. Yeah.
And again, Lena, maybe that makes them a bit like not this. What's the word when you're a bit
uptight?
You're jealous of the other, jealous of the female. Maybe if many men feel like crying and they see the partner or the sister crying, and it's like, well, I felt like doing that, but I couldn't do that. They'll lash out and call you stupid for crying, or maybe that is a part of jealousy that they don't feel free to do that either, because they've been taught that it's not the done thing. You don't do it.
It's a sign of weakness.
Yeah, when I went through my masculine phase, not to say, I have a lot of masculine signs in my chart, so it's kind of a natural thing for me anyways. But when I was going through the suppression of my feminine, I didn't allow myself to cry ever, and it's just like, you build all these layers upon layers of hurt and pain through, life. And I was just walking around with a frown all the time, but like an angry frown, because it just bottles up. So that could be another thing too, is like, well, maybe sex helps the man to try to kind of release some of that. And so, you know, maybe it's just like this, it's all about balance again, and how we're taught how to handle our emotions and, you know, have respect for other people and everything. And, you know, it's just all about, now it's like up to the people who have children to teach them to have compassion for themselves. And of course, if you have compassion for yourself, you're going to have compassion for other people. And it's okay to cry. You know, I would purposefully make myself, once I started to meditate and get into spirituality, I would just sit there and think up all these different things that upset me in the past on purpose so that I could cry. And, you know, it's hard, it's painful, but if you don't get it out, you're just holding all of that in. So.
Well, two things I'll share with everyone. I can't believe this hour has already gone by. Is that you've heard the idiom, the eyes are the windows of the soul. So tears, if you block a dam, that eventually begins to stagnate the emotions within. Think about this. So when you release those tears, it's the portal to the soul that's letting out that essence at that moment. If it's sadness, it's sadness, and you should save it, because sadness is not bad.
No.
Sadness is a healing situation in many times. Yeah. I guess I talk too much, but you know, that's why I'm on this channel. I don't know.
And we appreciate that.
Yes.
It's like, Steiger, shut up. You're giving all your secrets away, you know?
We love your viewpoints.
Well, and I'm, like I said, I grow from all three of you, with everyone in this community. But because we meet regularly, it's like with Trina, you know, I'm a sponge as well, because I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, we're all here to teach each other.
Exactly. We're all here to learn, right? Every day is something new. I mean,
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I keep my notes. I have a file on Jenny, got a file on Amy. Oh, well, this has been fun. I have to say, I thank you three. This has been a delightful conversation beyond anything that I was anticipating.
Oh,
good.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, I always love being on here. So
you know, it's and Jenny, you got to glow. Read the email.
I can't
It's
wait
going
to
to
read
freak
the
you
email.
out.
I've been sitting on my hands, look, literally to try and not press buttons to ruin anything.
I saw you, girl, and you know, you'll see. And yeah,
I want to know too. Send me the email.
Yeah, send it.
you know, I felt
dressed.
compelled. I had been in meditation, and I knew that I was to write to you. Thank you, David Barry.
You know what?
We love you.
Thank you for looking in on me. I appreciate it. I do. And I appreciate being surrounded.
I got kind of this protective thing with you three, you know, and there's others, but you know, it's like, don't mess with them.
Yeah, no, and I've discussed your events with my mom, with other people that are close to this group, of this protective energy that I felt was going to come from that. So I appreciate it, and I know the other two beautiful ladies appreciate it, and I just appreciate being around more and more people each day that are frequency matched. That, you know, neither one of us would put off or mind looking in on the other in that way, or any other kind of way, you know, to put protection, put abundance, and without anything else attached to that. And that's so beautiful. So I appreciate all of you for that. It's a beautiful thing that's happening right now.
Well, your family, you're in this family, and you know, Jenny, you don't get out alive. Once you're in the family,
I'll
don't get out alive. Amber, same thing. Nina, I'm just telling you, you just don't. You know, it's you know, it's just the way it is.
That's one thing's for sure, right? Taxes and death, isn't that the one?
That's what they say.
Are guaranteed.
There'll be that crazy orb that just flies across all of your screens and the noise. If I
there goes Jenny.
Love it. Yeah. Well, we'll be all back together on Friday. You know, I have to say, I have really enjoyed this. We ought to do it again. Just wow, y'all were just fantastic, just fantastic. That's all I got to say. So, listen, y'all come back on Friday. I put all their contact information. It's on there every Friday. Listen, if you really need a reading, and you really should, I can't think of 3 better potential candidates for you. And you get to see them here each week, so you know what they do.
And if you're looking for a free reading today, I'll be going live in an hour on Facebook and then upload it to YouTube tonight for Hump Day message. So stay
See?
tuned for that.
And
need to
Amber,
fix
I
those
know.
up.
And Jenny, I'm watching you now every day.
Yay.
Yeah. You do the readings, I'm telling you, it's just phenomenal. It just really is. And Amber, I like to see more of yours. I mean, y'all have
I'm
tremendous
really
ability.
shy. I'm like really shy. You wouldn't think that.
I wouldn't
but
think that. No.
No.
I'm afraid of judgment. I don't like people attacking me. I have my comments on like where I have to check them before I accept them. My likes and dislikes are off. You know, I'm just very sensitive to criticism. And so
Well,
Let me be your door lady. I'll be your door lady. We've got like doormen here at the nightclubs. I'll be your door lady. Tell me what's going on
you're
now.
out of here.
I'll be
Yeah.
your door lady. I'll be like, yeah,
Yeah,
you're
make us mods. That way we
Yeah.
can like boot people off.
yeah. Make
Yeah,
us
do that.
mods.
Makes us
Yeah.
mods, yeah.
Do that with
I
the
will.
difference being doormen and door ladies. I love being a door lady.
I like
Yeah,
that idea, Jennifer. I never heard of that, because, you know, that's true modification of behavior.
Oh yeah, I'll say it. Your name's not down, you're not getting it.
You see, I told you she could put a
Yeah.
can of whoop ass on you. I knew it.
Keep gone.
Down. All right, everyone. Thank you. Stay with me, panel. We love you all. Namaste to all of you. Be good, love one another, and keep laughing.